How you doing, guys? So this is my analysis on EurUsd for this week. I've been trying to make this video for the past few days, but I've been tied up. Anyways, when you go to the daily time frame, what do you notice? Notice that we had what they call a compression. Okay, a compression is simply when price makes a drop. It retests, makes a supply zone, then it retests it. Okay. So when you have a compression, in most of the cases, market will rally through it. Okay, it will just go through it. Now this compression started from last week. If you guys can notice, this took about 2 weeks. If you go to the weekly chart, 2 weeks of compression whereby price retested all the supply zones on the daily time frame. So if you can see, price here made a drop-based drop. Okay, around that area I've drawn my rectangle, and then it came and tested that level. Okay, so that was a weak supply zone because market has already taken the orders from that zone. Okay, then afterwards price came again and then also made a drop, another base drop, base drop. Okay, around that area again price came and did what? We tested that area. Okay, so that means that once price reached our, now this is where most people get it wrong. So this was a very key level. Okay, this was a key demand zone on the daily time frame because we had a support and resistance behind it, as well as of course price had broken structure with this demand zone. Okay, so this demand zone, price had broken structure. But now what happened? Okay, what happened is that price came and pushed through the demand zone and left wicks. Now these wick rejections mean that price took out most of the orders underneath this demand zone. Okay, so once price took out the orders in the demand zone, then we saw a push upwards. But now this push upwards came afterwards, after price retesting all these supply zones. Okay, so once we had that compression whereby every supply zone was retested, there was no supply in these levels. That's why we see a push upwards. Okay, a push through all these levels before price reached a true supply zone that wasn't yet retested. If you notice very well, this supply zone above here, okay, if you notice very well, let me first show you this supply zone here, price had not yet retested it. That's why when it came, there was some significant push downwards for like 2 days. So this was Friday, this was the last day, which is Friday, and this was Thursday. Okay, but look at Wednesday was buying. Okay, Tuesday was buying, Monday was buying. So all this momentum upwards was pushing up towards something. Okay, so after some time we realized that market is now we are now trying to sell. But as I've told you, if you look at the general trend, it's a very clear bullish trend. Okay, so you don't have to just enter in your sales right away. You have to wait for some bit of a confirmation. So for my confirmation entry, if you have to get a confirmation entry, go to the lower time frame. What do you want to show in the lower time frame? Once you see that price is making higher highs, okay, want to see some bit of pattern like this. Okay, and then afterwards price breaks this high to make a new higher high, and then afterwards we make a new lower low. Okay, so my entry will actually be when price comes back to around this area here for a retest. That will be my entry for more sales. Okay, that will be my entry for more sales. Okay, so once we see the structure in the low time frame, that will be our entry model for sales. But right now there is no clear model for us to enter in our sales. That means market is likely to continue pushing upward. Now, given that information, where would the market likely, what would the likely zone for a buy be at? Go to the H4, because the H4 is where you can clearly see where you can take in your buys. So anyways, on the H4, what do you see on the H4? We had a demand zone. We had a demand zone around here that price actually retested already. If you look at this candle here, price came and retested that level already with a weak rejection. So once again, we created a new demand zone. Okay, and price actually pushed upwards. Okay, it broke structure with this demand zone. So we have another demand zone here that price has already tested clearly. Okay, has it broken this demand zone? Because for us to start selling, we have to first of all see price break a demand zone. And if you observe very closely, price hasn't yet broken that demand zone. That means we can still take our entries for buys. Okay, remember our aim is for buys in this market, because on the higher time frame we're extremely bullish. Okay, we're extremely bullish. So price hasn't yet broken that demand zone. It has only worked through the demand zone. Given that information, where would our likely move be? You go to the low time frame, you go to the H1 as I've told you. And what do you notice on the H1? Well, you also observe a compression. As I've told you guys, a compression is whereby price retests the supply zones or the demand zone above or below. So if I should move over the drawing so that you can see clearly what I'm saying. Okay, so if you remove everything, okay, you realize that price is already making a compression. Here we have a supply zone that isn't yet retested, but here we have a supply zone here that was already retested. Here, if you go above, you have a supply zone around here. The price is already tested and continue downward. The only supply zone that market hasn't yet retested and which it could potentially come to is around this level here. Okay, but you already see that price has already tested that level, so there's no clear supply at any of those two levels. Now, given that information, where would your next move be at? Well, I would advise you not to take any entries at this spot. But what I would advise you to do, if you have time, is that you first of all look for support and resistance. If you look at this level around here, we saw that price came and pushed all the way up. Okay, so this makes a good entry model. If price is able to push and come at least up to that level, I'll take my entries for buys to clear all these compressions. Okay, all these compressions, as I've told you, compressions whereby there's no demand or supply at a zone, because it has already been okay. There's no order in the market at that level. There are no orders, so market is likely to just push through the levels. So anyways, I'm more expecting if price is able to come back to that support turned resistance level, I will take my buys from there. Okay, I shall take my buys from that level, because if you can see to the left there, that level is also a good level to buy from, and we also have a demand zone around that level. So this is a good setup for me. I would wait for market to push all the way down to that level at least, then I can take my entries for buys. Go to the M15 again. Remember, we are scaling down so that we can take more better entries. If you go to the M15, you realize that we already have a demand zone here that hasn't yet been retested, which is around here. Okay, so this is my demand zone that price hasn't yet retested. Okay, so once price comes and retests this level here, I'm willing to take my buys from that area. Okay, we also have another demand zone around this area. This is the M15, remember. So we have another demand zone around here. So price has retested the demand zone, but now if it fails to break the supply zone above, then we can look for entries, as price could potentially decrease towards my area here. So yeah, that's what my outlook on EurUsd is for next week. Remember, I've told you I'm looking for buys. If price is able to come to my entry, that's where I will take my buys from. For people who want to who miss out on these entries, as I've told you, you should be careful, because market will likely not always come into your direction, so you have to look for potential entries. Here we have a support and resistance as well. Price has already tested that support and resistance. Are we able to break the supply levels above? We shall just wait and see. Okay, we shall just wait and see, because if you can observe, the supply zone has already been retested. Okay, we have a supply zone here. Price has already tested that level, so we are likely either to push up downwards up to my area of confluence there, or price could simply just reject off of that resistance level and continue upwards. So these are all possibilities. There's nothing wrong in the market doing whatever it wants, because our job is just to place in our entries. Okay, so anyways, that's my analysis for EurUsd this week. Here is actually a great buying opportunity, but if price is able to break, for instance on Monday open, I could take my buys, stop loss just underneath that zone, and maybe the highest stop loss would be around there. Remember, here we have an imbalance. Here also have some bit of an imbalance. Here also have some bit of an imbalance. So price could likely push downwards to clear all these imbalances. Afterwards, we may have a push upwards. So yeah, that's my outlook on EurUsd for next week. I don't know how it will play out, so we shall just wait and see. But as I've told you guys, you have to be patient here. We have to just be patient on EurUsd because the current market is actually extremely volatile. Nowadays, market is not actually respecting most of these levels. It will just push out of the blue. Okay, so you have to adapt also. You don't have to just stick to one thing and hope for the best. You have to be able to adapt, because that's your job as a trader. Your job as a trader is to be adaptive. Okay, you have to adapt to the current market situations. You have to adapt as much as possible. Okay, so yeah, that's it for EurUsd. I'll be updating you soon on gold. Gold, for people who want to trade gold has been extremely, if you go to the daily time frame, you see that gold is just in a retracement zone. Remember that gold is actually ranging. Okay, so we have this as my last swing low. Okay, this is my last swing low here, and then the last swing high is here. This was my highest point that price has reached. So gold is just ranging between these levels. There's no clear break of the swing low or the swing high. So currently in gold, just playing around per now. I can tell price is just playing around. Okay, there's no clear direction where gold could go. So any strategy that goes with a trend, I think you are in a wrong place, because gold is not actually doing any of that stuff. Okay, gold is just playing around, as I've told you. If you go to the weekly chart on gold again, realize that we have some bit of a consolidation, as I've told you. As you have seen, there's a bit of consolidation, and yeah, here you can first of all look for a supply zone. This is a key supply area around there. This is a key supply area. Price just made a weak rejection that supply area, so that means that we are in good mood, we are in good hands for price to continue either higher and tap into that supply that was left, because this is what they call empty or a void. When that means there are too many orders situated around this area, so price would likely come back for a push upwards, maybe take out even some more orders before you continue having a rally base down. Okay, so given that information, I will tell you guys that with gold, as I've told you, there's no clear market structure. Okay, there's no clear market break or whatever. There's no clear momentum, because I've told you the last swing high hasn't yet been reached, the last swing low hasn't yet been reached, so there's no clear structure. Okay, there's no clear structure on gold. All we can tell is that we are extremely bullish on gold, but we don't know if price is able to break and then continue lower. But now for gold, this is a demo account, guys. Don't be so scared about it. So on gold, if you go to the line chart, let me first show you on the line chart. Okay, if you go to the line chart, you realize that we have a kind of a bit of a Quasimodo. Okay, so market here was making what, higher highs and then lower lows. Okay, so price was pushing upwards, but then it made a lower low, a new lower low. That means we are in the good hands to say that price could likely sell. Okay, but again, as I've told you, gold is extremely, it has no clear direction. So if you draw your resistance, your support and resistance level, okay, realize that what is market doing. Actually, if you realize it, market is actually at a resistance level that it has clearly broken into. So you may, first of all, for the next week, you may see some push maybe upwards towards that support. If we had if you go to the low time frame, this is more clearer. Okay, price could potentially push towards that level, and then we have a push downwards. Okay, so that could be the likelihood of the market. We have a push maybe like on Monday, maybe to reverse most of the positions, and then afterwards may see a push even lower, because we have a clear demand zone that hasn't yet been tested, which is around there. So gold is likely to drop for the next coming days, but you have to be very, very vigilant, because gold is very volatile, so you don't want to mess up any of your entries. So if you go to the low time frame like the H4, you realize that price is in a bit of a consolidation again. we have another new course model here. We have a lower low, and then we have a higher high. So price came towards the course model. Yeah, I'm pretty sure you're going to buy for the coming Monday. Pretty sure you're going to be buying gold. Okay, pretty sure that you're going to be buying gold, because if you can see clearly, price is likely to push upwards for that level, and then we have a W forming before you can have another push down. Okay, so yeah, so my outlook on gold, as I've told you, is for buys. I'm looking for buys on gold coming Monday. Of course, we don't have any guarantee that it will buy, but as I've told you, we are looking for better entries. Okay, we're looking for better entries. So anyways, yeah, that's what my expectations are for gold. I'm expecting it to push upwards up towards that level, then we sell. If we go to the low time from like the H1, we have already a supply zone. Okay, if I should move all the drawings so that you can see this even more clear around the H1. If you observe here, we have a support and resistance. Price broke through that support and then came for a retest. So here we have a bit of a supply zone. If you guys can see, price made a push downwards to break that support, and then afterwards it came for a retest. So yeah, that's it for gold. We may see some push-ups maybe up to clear this imbalance, because we have some bit of imbalance here. There was a fair value gap around this area. Okay, so price hasn't yet come to fill that fair value gap, so we may see a push upwards coming next Monday. Okay, coming next Monday. So yeah, but potentially gold has been selling, so I would advise you to first of all wait for your biases to even be accomplished, because as I've told you, we may just see a slight push upwards, maybe towards that level up there, to clear that imbalance, and then afterwards we may see some push downward. Okay, we see some push downwards in the next coming days. So Monday may open with a buy, maybe so to clear some of the volume there, then afterwards we see some push downwards. Go to the M15. Remember, I already scaled down so that I can see clearly where I'm heading to. We see that price has already made a bit of a compression. Okay, price made a compression, and already now here we have we have a demand zone. If you observe clearly, here we have some bit of a demand zone. At this area here we have a demand zone, so price hasn't yet broken. That gives us much confidence to even take more buys. If you go to the M5 again, as I've told you, price is not yet broken anything, it's just playing around, but I'm expecting it to actually push. I'm expecting another push now. I'm expecting a push on gold right now. Okay, I'm expecting a push on gold, because we have broken support, we have come for a retest, and then you're making the resistance into support, so you're expecting a push to clear that imbalance there. That's what my aim is. So I'll take my buys on gold coming Monday. My stop loss will be underneath this level here. This will be my stop loss around this area here to be my stop loss, because if price is able to break that demand zone beneath, then I have no entry. Okay, I have no entry. So yeah, that's my outlook on gold. We may have some buys coming next Monday. Okay, coming next Monday we may have some buys, but that's a short position. If you're buying, be very careful, because you have so many entries. So that's my outlook on gold. I'll see you guys. I'll update you guys soon. Thank you.